Hello, hello, everyone. Welcome to Beyond the Evidence. Tonight we are doing Tabitha Shuck Raines, and I've got Andrea here with me.
Hello, hello.
How are you?
I'm good.
It's been a while.
It has.
We're back. So, we went through all of the big depositions and statements and all of the certificate of analysis. And now we are starting on individual deposition and statements, right?
Correct.
And we have a number of those to go through.
Yes, we do.
And then we received some new documents too. And we're in the process of trying to get even more documents. So cross your fingers that will go through. Hello, hello, Jinx and Jill. Down Under with Love, how are you today? Rescue All the Dogs, how are you? So as I was saying, we did get some more documents for Tabitha, and we are working on getting some more. We got some documents through Hamilton County, and this time we're trying to get documents from Tipton County. So cross your fingers that all goes through and that we get those. Hello, Elandra. So tonight we're going to read at least 2 individual depositions, because the first one is 22 pages and then the second one is 7 or 8.
And if the second one's 8 and the third one's 7.
Okay, 8, and then if we have time and we're within the hour, we'll read the third one. We're going to try to get through 2 or 3 of these a night at least. So the first one is Aaron Sharp.
This is a two people read.
Yep. I'm just trying to get my document situated here. I do have a new setup, so I'm trying to get used to seeing and using everything. So this is State of Indiana, County of Hamilton, in the Superior Court Number 1 of Hamilton County. State of Indiana plaintiff versus Elizabeth J. Balser, defendant. It's the oral examination of Aaron Sharp. And appearances for the plaintiff, J.D. Rich. For the defendant, Robert F. Alden. And that was it. Just the 2 of them today. So once again, you're going to be the attorney, and then I'll be Aaron Sharp.
I'll be the attorneys,
and I'll be Aaron Sharp.
Yep.
All right.
Here we go. Okay, this is J. Rich. We're present in the Tipton County Prosecutor's Office, deposition of Aaron Sharp. Aaron is present in the room along with Bob Alden, Elizabeth Balser's attorney, and J. Rich, Tipton County Prosecutor. Aaron, would you please raise your right hand? After first being duly sworn to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, was examined and testified as follows. Questions by Mr. Alden. Okay, Aaron, where do you live?
I live at 833 Poplar Street.
And is that here in Tipton?
Yes.
J. Rich interrupts. Could I stop real quick? Mr. Alden says yes. Then they go off record. Then Mr. Rich comes back on and says, back on the record, deposition of Aaron Sharp.
What was that all about?
I have no idea. Then Mr. Alden says, okay, Aaron, you live at 833 Poplar Street, and that's in Tipton.
Yes.
And what's your telephone number?
I currently do not have one.
Are you employed?
Yes,
Where do you work?
I work for John Jackson Construction
And how long have you worked there?
for about 3 months.
All right. How old are you?
I'm 30,
Date of birth?
May 19th.
Who do you live with on Poplar Street address?
William Young,
And who is he? What relation?
just a friend.
As I understand it, you and Jennifer lived together for a couple years. Is that right?
Yes, we lived together for 2 years.
And so you moved out and moved in with William. Is that right?
Yes,
And that's where he lived before?
yes,
And you currently have a no contact order with her. Is that right?
right.
You're not charged with any crimes or anything right now, though. Is that right?
No, no,
Have you been convicted of any criminal offenses?
no,
Have you ever been arrested for anything?
no.
Now, I also understand that you are a cousin to Derek Branham. Is that right?
Yes, sir.
And that Derek was in prison for a while and got out and lived with you and Jennifer. Is that right?
Yes.
Do you have any idea approximately the date and year that he got out of prison?
I'm uncertain of the date and the year which he got out. It was, I'm thinking, 2 years ago.
Soon after you moved in with Aaron, or with Jennifer, I mean.
It was probably a year after we moved in together.
And this is October of 2003. You lived with Jennifer for about 2 years. So do you think that it was about a year ago?
Uh-huh. A year ago from right now.
Why did he stay with you?
He told me that he moved out of his mother's house and he was just staying at numerous friends' houses. And I thought if I let him live in my house, then maybe he might straighten up his ways a little bit.
What's the difference in your ages?
He's 24 and I'm 30.
All right. Were you two close, or was he always like just a little brother to you? I mean, I know you're cousins. Are you first cousins, by the way?
Yes, we are first cousins. Well, growing up, he was always sent away and in trouble, so I never really got a chance to get close to him. And my little brother is gay, and we didn't have anything in common, so Derek kind of filled the void and was my little brother.
So starting when he was about 18 or so, you mean?
Yeah, when he actually got out and spent more time out than he did in jail.
So you tried to do what you could to get him to go straight?
Yeah, just help him.
Okay. And were you working during this period of time?
Yes.
Where did you work at?
I was working for Sean Moss.
What kind of work were you doing?
Roofing, construction.
Okay. Do you know Liz Balser?
I don't know her personally, but I know of her. I've heard a lot of things about her.
A year ago, did you know what she looked like?
Yeah, I've known her since she was a little kid. I've seen her face. I mean, she lived in Tipton, and everybody pretty much knows everybody in Tipton.
So you were familiar with her. You just didn't do things with her.
Right.
Didn't know her in that sense. Is that what you mean?
Yes.
Did you know Kyle Neff?
Yes.
How did you know him? In what way?
I had met him at the gas station out at Cheryl's on 31. He had worked out there, and I had just met somebody that knew him. And then we went in there together and said, "Hey, this is my friend Aaron." And that's how I met him.
Did you start hanging out with him at all?
No, I never hung out with him.
So were you familiar with him than you were Liz Balser?
I've known Liz probably longer because Kyle Neff, I mean, I know who his parents and who his family is, but I don't know him personally.
And did you know John Yates?
No, I've never heard of that name until all this come up.
Did you know Tabitha Raines?
No.
Did you ever see Liz Balser and Kyle Neff together?
Yes.
And when did you see them? What was the occasion?
Well, there was no occasion. They both come over to my apartment when Jennifer and I had lived together. And as soon as I walked in the door, I seen Liz Balser in my house, and I got furious, mad. And I walked straight into my bedroom, and I told my girlfriend, I'm not coming out until they leave because they're nothing but trouble, and I don't want nothing to do with them.
Did you feel the same way about Neff, or?
Well, not so much Kyle Neff, but Liz I did. Just because I knew she was a thief and she would try to conjure up any kind of anything.
And this is based on what you've heard people say?
Yes, she has a very bad reputation.
And do you remember who you told those things?
I couldn't tell you. I have no recollection. It's just numerous people through town. I couldn't pinpoint one certain person, what they had said.
So I take it then you didn't actually have any conversation with either one of them?
No.
And you didn't say hello, kiss my butt, nothing? You just walked in?
Walked straight into my room as soon as I seen them.
Do you have any idea personally why they were there?
To see Derek.
How do you know that if you didn't talk to them?
Because the only time they would call or come by was to get Derek.
Now, you said they. Are you telling me Liz Balser had been to your house before?
Well, Kyle has been to my house before numerous times with other gentlemen that I had no clue who they are.
So Kyle's been there before.
Kyle's been there and called there before for Derek, wanting to talk to Derek, and he was never home.
Uh-huh.
But Kyle had come by, but Liz had never come there before. That was the first time and the last time that I know of.
So since you didn't have any conversation with either Kyle or Liz that day, you're assuming that Kyle came to see Derek. That's how you're basing your opinion?
Yeah, that would be the only motivation he would have to be over there.
And I take it Liz had never called there before for Derek. Is that correct?
No.
And you know she'd never been there before either.
Right, that I know of.
Is that the only thing that you know as to why they were there? Is your opinion that they must have been there to see Derek?
Yeah.
Now, did you have any conversation with Jennifer about what she knew as to why they were there?
She assumed the same thing, just that they were there to see Derek.
Did you ask her that day why they were there?
Oh, yeah.
And what exactly did she say to you as to why they were there?
She said exactly that they were there to see Derek.
Is that all she said?
Yes.
No more detail.
No more. That's what I told her. I don't ever want them in my house again. Don't ever open the door for them. Open the door, say he's not here, and let them go.
How long did they stay after you came?
It wasn't 5 minutes. I was there and they left. But I think that they were using my phone.
Why do you think that?
Because I didn't hear them talking very much, or one person kind of mumbling, and nothing else was talking.
Well, if you think they were using your phone, wouldn't you have heard them talking on the phone?
Well, my bedroom is in the back of the apartment, and the phone was in the very front.
Jennifer said that they were watching TV. Is that what you saw them doing while they were sitting in the living room?
No, they weren't sitting. They were standing.
When you walked in, they were standing?
Like they had just gotten there.
Do you know how long they had been there before you got there? Did Jennifer ever tell you that?
No, she never told me.
So up until today, you always thought that they had just got there.
Yeah, unless she knew them better than I did, and I didn't know them very well.
Did they say anything when they left? Did you hear them say anything when they left?
No.
Did you talk to Derek when he came home about the fact that they were there?
Yes.
And what did you say to him, and what did he say to you?
I asked Derek why they were there, and he said they were there looking for me. I said, well, why are they looking for you? He said, well, they're wanting me to find them something. I didn't know if he was talking about drugs or if he was talking about something stolen or what.
He just said something? You didn't know what that something was?
It could have been anything. It wasn't my business. I didn't want no part of it. I just dropped it and left it at that.
Did you ever see them there again at any later date? And did you ever see them there at any other later date, the two of them together?
No,
And did you ever talk to Derek about that at a later date?
no,
Did Kyle keep coming there?
no. He'd call, but he wouldn't come over.
Did he call on a regular basis?
Yeah.
And did you ever discuss with him why he was calling?
No, it wasn't my business. I just stayed out of it.
How much after that was it that Derek stayed there before you moved?
It was probably about a month later.
Do you feel pretty certain about that when you're giving that opinion?
Yes, because he didn't stay very long.
And do you have any idea what approximate date it was that you saw Kyle and Liz there together?
I couldn't give you an exact date.
Do you have any kind of approximation?
It's been so long ago, I can't tell you.
Did you ever hear any rumors that Derek may have been involved in Tabitha Raines' death?
Yes.
And how soon after Tabitha Raines died did you hear that rumor?
A day or two.
Was Derek living with you at that time, or had he already moved out?
He might have already moved out. I can't remember.
Well, I mean, I'm sure that if here you are, called a mentor to Derek, trying to help him out of a little bit and teach him the way to act in society. Do you remember having any personal discussions with him?
With Derek? All kinds of them.
I mean, at the time he was accused of this case, accused of the murder, by rumor.
Yeah, I confronted him about it.
Well, thinking back, I'm just trying to refresh your recollection a little bit. Thinking back to that, does that help you remember as to whether or not he was actually living with you then, or whether he was living someplace?
He was still living with me when I had the conversation with him.
Okay, so you think he was living with you when the rumor was out?
Right.
And what did he say to you?
He said that he didn't have anything to do with it.
Did you ever hear any rumors about Neff or Balser being involved in the murder?
Oh, yeah.
And did you say anything to him about that?
Uh-huh. And he said he didn't know nothing about what was going on with them with that.
Did you ever hear him say anything about a gun?
Yes, I have.
And what is that?
Okay, Derek told me that they wanted him to get them a gun so that they could go to Indianapolis and buy cocaine. They didn't want to go and get ripped off. They wanted to go and have...
Off record. Start that statement again.
Derek told me that they wanted him to find them a gun because they were going to go to Indianapolis and buy some cocaine, and they didn't want to go and be unprotected. They wanted to have some protection on them.
Okay.
But when he told me that, and when he told me this, when all the murders happened, it didn't feel good. It didn't look good for Derek because just makes it look like he did it.
Make it look like he did what?
Like he got them a gun to murder somebody. But I asked Derek, I said, I won't tell nobody. Tell me what happened. I had nothing to do with it. He swore up and down. He swore on his kid's life, and I believe him when he comes to that.
And the reason why they came to get the gun was for the cocaine. He swore that was true also?
Yeah.
On his kids' life, he's saying to you.
Yeah.
Did you ever hear anything about the fact that Kyle Neff had been threatened by a cocaine dealer in Indianapolis for ripping a cocaine dealer off?
I had heard a rumor about it, but all them rumors all come out after everything had happened, and the way rumors are, you can't believe half of these. Or half.
Now, without speculating here, and if you only know for sure, I want you to answer this question. You remember the rumors about Derek being involved, and you remember rumors about Liz and Neff maybe being involved in Tabitha's death. Do you have any specific recollection as to how many days it was before Tabitha's body was found that Kyle and Elizabeth were over at your house?
Oh, they were at my house maybe 2 weeks before they found her body.
You think it was that long before? You have to answer for the record.
Yes.
You feel very comfortable saying that.
Yes.
Mr. Alden, I don't have any further questions. Cross-examination, questions by Mr. J. Rich. Aaron, when you came home from work that afternoon that Kyle was there with Elizabeth Balser, you're absolutely sure that was Elizabeth Balser?
Yes.
When you walked in, you said they were standing there.
Uh-huh.
Where were they standing in relation to you?
Okay, I walked in the front door and I had a couch on the left side and a couch directly in front of me, and it looked like they were both sitting on the end of the couch, but they were standing up right at the end of the couch. That may be a 1 o'clock angle.
How far away were they from you?
Maybe 10 foot.
Now, you had seen Elizabeth Balser over at William Young's house before, have you?
Yes.
What were the circumstances there, or what was the circumstance?
I went over to William's house, and Liz and another girl were sitting on his couch, and they were talking to William.
Were they making out?
Yes, sir. The two girls were.
Did you know the other girl?
Yes.
Do you know how old she was?
She was younger, maybe 15, maybe 16.
You say making out. What were they doing?
They were kissing each other and licking each other on the neck and stuff, right there in front of everybody.
Was anybody else there other than you and William?
Nope, just me and William.
How long ago was this?
Oh,
Let me rephrase that question when I say how long ago was this. When did it happen in relation to Tabitha Raines' disappearance?
about 6 months.
6 months prior to?
Yeah, I think it was the summer before.
Again, you stated that you've known and seen Elizabeth Balser around Tipton all of your life.
Yeah, she used to hang out in front of the courthouse on the weekends.
Where is John Jackson Construction located?
It's in Windfall. It's kind of inaudible.
You've stated, Aaron, that Derek told you that they wanted a gun so they could buy cocaine in Indianapolis and needed protection when they purchased it.
Uh-huh.
So as far as you know, Derek got that information from either Kyle or Elizabeth?
One of the two, yeah.
Did you ask Derek which one of those two told him that?
No, I didn't. I just asked Derek why he was even considering getting them one. It didn't make sense to me.
And then he told you what they would have told him?
Yeah, that he was just doing it as a favor.
Mr. Rich, that's all. Mr. Alden, I don't have any other questions.
Okay. So, Andrea, explain the reason why all these questions to Aaron Sharp. What were they trying to find out? What was their purpose of questioning him?
To find out if he was the one that supplied the gun to Kyle or Liz.
Yeah, so all those questions that he was asked was basically to find out if Derek Branham gave him the gun that killed Tabby. Interesting, huh? Let's see what,
Kind of a bust on his end.
huh?
I said kind of a bust on his end.
Right. Jinx says, new office is looking nice. Thank you. Did your husband take the butterfly decals off yet? No, not yet. So Misty is asking, who's the caller? Misty, this is Andrea. She's one of my moderators. She's my best buddy. And she helps me read all these documents on Tabitha and keep facts straight.
Well, I try to.
She's my walking Tabitha dictionary.
I guess.
Well, who do I call when I got a question and can't remember stuff?
Oh, I know. Or when you can't remember a name.
Yeah. Let's see. I'd like to know the evidence as it didn't get the 18-year-old convicted. Exactly. That's what we're trying to find out. And everybody else is saying hi as they're coming in. All right. If you press the Tipton number, first video is where I live. Well, love that place is crazy. All righty. So that was this is the expedition that the prosecutor takes trying to get information on this case. And apparently they were given a tip that Derek is the one that provided Kyle Neff and Elizabeth Balser with the gun. So they were questioning the gentleman that he was living with at the time.
Yeah.
Oh, goodness.
What?
Okay. I told you I'm still learning how to use this machine.
Oh.
So next we're going to do
Camille Pride.
There she is. Maybe. All right.
Reminder, refresh here. Camille Pride is the one that went to Little Daddy's strip club in Kokomo, where Liz Balser and her girlfriend hung out.
Okay. So she knew Elizabeth.
Right. Okay. Mr. Rich. We are at the Tipton County Prosecutor's Office. Present in the room is myself, Tipton County Prosecutor, Bob Alden, attorney for Elizabeth Balser, Camille Pride, the deponent. Camille, I'm going to ask you to raise your right hand. Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes.
Mr. Alden. Camille, would you spell your name, please?
Camil, and my last name is Pride.
How old are you?
26.
Where do you live?
163 Market Road, Tipton.
Who do you live with?
My parents.
Are you employed?
Yes.
And what do you do?
I work at a factory.
Which factory?
Manufacturing in Westfield.
Spell that.
Midcon.
How long have you been there?
Approximately 6 months.
What do you do there?
I'm a line supervisor.
Where did you work before that?
Dan Young Body Shop in Tipton.
What did you do there?
I was an estimator.
How did you learn to do that?
It took a lot of time.
Why did you quit?
I was laid off.
Camille, what is your personal friendship with John Yates?
No.
Kyle Neff?
No.
Elizabeth Balser.
Yes.
What is your relationship with her?
I have known her sister for several years. I was friends with her and then
Which sister?
Diane Wood.
Uh-huh.
Then I dated her brother for a couple years, Terry Wood. So she's been like a kid sister to me. I've known her for probably 8 or 9 years.
Did the police talk to you in particular as far as this crime is concerned?
Yes.
What was the subject matter as far as the questioning goes?
It was pretty much they asked me and Liz had went out. I had taken her to Little Daddy's in Kokomo to meet her girlfriend. And Gary Stout called me and wanted me to answer some questions for him. And he asked us about the night we went out there with someone that went with us. His name was David Lewicki. And supposedly he told Gary Stout that Liz said that she did commit murder and killed Tabitha. He said all kinds of things. What she did, she shot her with a gun and shot her between the eyes. And he was basically asking me about that. If I had heard her say any of these things, which I did not, there was no time that she could have said those things without me hearing because she was around me the entire time, except she went to the bathroom once.
Okay, do you remember the date that you went up there to Little Daddy's?
I'm not sure what the exact date was, but I know it was on a Monday.
And it was on a Monday. Why do you think it was on a Monday?
I remember because on Monday, we went out. On Tuesday, I went over to her house and watched a movie with her and her mom. And then on that Wednesday, I believe she was arrested. So it was 3 days before she was arrested that we had went out.
Monday. Let's see. The 7th, Tuesday, you saw the movie. Wednesday, what happened?
Liz had been arrested for underage drinking or something.
Do you know who she was with when she got arrested for that?
I don't know. I have no idea.
How did you happen to get with David Lewicki?
I had seen him uptown. I've known him for several years. He was one of my friend's boyfriends, and he asked me to give him a ride. And Liz had asked me to take her to Little Daddy's to meet her girlfriend. He was in the car when she asked me, and he asked me if I would take him too. So I told them I would take them up there, but they would have to find a ride home because I wasn't staying. And so he ended up going too.
Was he a friend of hers too?
No, this was the first night he had met Liz.
Had he been drinking?
I don't know if he'd been drinking prior, but he was afterwards.
At Little Daddy's?
Yes.
So he just wanted to go to a strip joint. You told him he was going to have to find a ride home. So here's a guy that you're with, Liz. You're driving down the street, and there's Dave Lewicki on the side of the street or something, and he flagged you down or something.
Yeah, pretty much.
I don't know. You tell me what happened, okay?
I seen him wave, and I had pulled over and was talking to him. And before I had taken them to the bar, we had stopped at my friend's Marie's house because she called me on my cell phone. She worked at Babalu's and said that someone had called her at Babalu's and said that they were coming to her house to see her, and she didn't know who it was. And come to find out, it was Dave. So we had stopped there before we went to Little Daddy's.
What happened when you stopped there?
We just went in and talked to my friend Marie for a minute and left.
Was Dave there?
Yes.
So Marie wanted Dave to leave or something?
She didn't know who was coming over to her house, but come to find out, it was Dave. They had gave her a description of what he was wearing, and it was him in my car. She called me on my cell phone.
So what time did you get up there?
I can't remember. 9:30, 10, maybe.
How long did you stay up there?
I left, I believe it was around 11:30 because I had to work the next day.
Was Liz's girlfriend up there?
Yes.
Did Liz and her girlfriend begin relating to each other?
She was dancing that night. She just came over and talked to us between dances.
So the three of you, Liz, and Dave, were all sitting at a table together.
No, I wasn't going to go in at first. They talked me into it, and we went in and played a few games of pool, and she came over and talked to us while we were playing pool.
Did you hear that Dave got arrested that night?
Yes, I did.
And what did he get arrested for?
I guess he got arrested for PI, is what I heard outside of the bar. Me and Liz left him there because he was getting really rude and saying obscene things. So when he wasn't looking, we got in the car and left him there.
You and Liz did.
Yes.
So you did bring her back home.
Yes.
Was he out of his mind drunk, or was that the deal?
Yes, pretty much. He was wasted.
How did he get drunk so fast?
He was drinking whiskey.
Just straight whiskey?
Mixed with Coke, I guess.
But a lot of it.
Yeah.
He was being, strike all that. On Saturday the 5th, before that, Tabitha's body was found. Was you aware of that?
Yes.
Was there any conversation between you and Liz and Dave about the body being found on the way to the bar?
No.
And was there any conversation about it at the bar?
Yes. There wasn't really conversation about it. They had the news on the TV and it came up about her, about Tabitha, and someone in the corner. I don't know what was said, but someone smarted something off about Liz did it. And she started crying and said, "No, I didn't. She was my friend." And that was the end of it. I never heard anything else about it.
Did anybody mention anything about Kyle Neff to you, to your knowledge?
No.
Previous to that, there had been some rumors around Tipton. Is that right?
Uh-huh.
About different suspects. Did you hear that?
Yes.
And that Kyle Neff was a suspect. Did you hear that?
Yes, I actually heard that from Sandy Raines, pretty much.
And what did you hear from her?
On Thursday night, which would be the third day after she was missing, when this is the first time I had seen Liz after all this had happened, I had went up to the junction to speak with one of my friends. It was around 8 because I ordered some Chinese food and I happened to see Liz uptown, so I stopped. And I said, "Hey, you want to go get Chinese food with me?" And she said, "Yeah." So we went and picked it up and went back to the courthouse. And we were sitting there eating it. And Sandy came up there and she was talking about how they couldn't find Tabitha and she was missing. And she had thought that Kyle and I guess her name Amanda, his girlfriend, had done something to her because they had been arguing. She said that she thought they possibly beat her up and left her somewhere. And there was probably 10 people up there, and I didn't know any of them except Sandy and Liz, and they were all talking about it there in front of everyone. That's the first I heard about it.
How about on the way home? Did you and Liz have any conversation about Liz being subjected to these accusations?
No.
Whose idea was it to leave the bar, yours or Liz?
Mine.
So you just told the police that all the stuff Dave told the police, Dave said could not have been said by her.
Right.
Do you have any idea why he said any of that stuff about her?
I'm not sure. The only thing I can think of is that he was mad because we left him there. I do know if she would have said it, I would have heard it because she was around me the entire night, except the one time that she went to the bathroom. And if anything was said, I would have heard it. So.
Okay, and you were driving. You didn't have that much to drink yourself?
Right.
Okay, I don't have any further questions.
So, it just, straighten me out if I'm wrong. The whole reason for this deposition is because this David Lewicki told police that Elizabeth said that she had killed Tabitha and shot her between the eyes.
Right. Now, did you notice in this deposition also that she says on Thursday night, which would have been the third day,
right?
When it was actually the first day, she went missing on a Wednesday.
Oh, that's right. No, I thought she went missing on a Monday.
No, they found her on Saturday.
Oh, that's right. Well, then that don't make sense. How come police didn't catch on to that?
And where is it in any other depositions that Sandy Raines said that Kyle and Amanda beat her up?
Exactly. That's what I was going to point out. Exactly. And why did Sandy Raines think that? Just because they weren't getting along? And that, well, something.
Well, said that they had heard that Amanda and Tabby were arguing.
Right.
Imagine that.
Well, we know that they were arguing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, okay, so how many, that brings it to how many people that thought that Kyle and Amanda did it? A few.
More than what? More people than what? More people think Kyle and Amanda did it than Liz and Kyle.
Right. Right.
On to the next.
My whole thing on this is, though, why would Liz cover for Kyle and Amanda?
When is she covering for him? I don't think she's ever one time said Kyle didn't do it.
Right, that's true. So Kyle and Amanda are making Liz the fall guy. And somehow they got Andrew Bush to go along with the story.
Well, we know why Andrew Bush went with the story.
Yeah, because all of this is based off of what Andrew Bush says happened and what Kyle Neff says happened.
Right.
Oh, I didn't want to do that. Hello, Mark. It's okay if you're late. We're just reading. Yeah, you're right, Mark. There isn't a whole lot of evidence to show that this all happened in the park the way that they're saying it did. And in that, proof is that in that last deposition we read, she says that Sandra Raines came up to her and said that she thought Kyle and Amanda did it.
That they thought. Not
Right.
just her. They thought.
They thought, yeah. Okay, who's next?
Derek Boyd. Derek Boyd is the one that said he saw Tabitha and Liz with John Yates at 10:30 that night.
Oh, yes. This is an interesting one. All right, everybody. Put your seatbelts on because this would throw off the prosecution's whole timeline, in my opinion. Transcript for Derek Boyd, October 8th, 2002. Derek Boyd, Detective Sergeant Gary Stout.
Okay. Gary Stout. Testing 1, 2, testing 1, 2. We're at the Tipton City Police Department. Today's date would be 10/8/02. Present in the room is Detective Sergeant Gary Stout with the Tipton City Police Department. Also a young man by the name of Derek L. Boyd. Spelling last name Boyd. Gives his address, age 20, date of birth, social security number, and the time would be 7:30 p.m. Derek, I have a form here in front of me, and this is in regards to a case report of a missing person, Tabitha A. Raines. Case number, blah, blah, blah. Derek, you came to the Tipton Police Department earlier this evening. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
To pass on some information attempting to assist the Tipton City Police Department in the investigation of Tabitha A. Raines and her death. Is that correct?
Yes.
And you came, and prior to taking this taped statement that we're taking now, I have a form that was the Tipton Police Department's interrogation advice of rights form. Is that correct?
Yes.
Did I read these rights to you at 6:45 p.m. on today's date?
Yes.
And did I advise you that you are not a suspect in this particular case, but the reason for reading the rights to you is that we've got an open investigation and at some time you became a suspect. I wanted to make sure that your rights have been read to you prior to giving this statement. Is that correct?
Yes.
Have I threatened you, pressured you, or coerced you in any way to come forward today?
Nope.
Did any member of the Tipton City Police Department?
No.
Will you tell me, Derek Boyd, why you're here and what information you have to pass on in regards to this investigation?
I remembered today that on Wednesday night at 9:30, I saw my buddy Bruce Branham drive his car through, and that's how I know it was Wednesday. And
that would have been the date that Tabitha
she came up missing.
Raines came up missing. Is that right?
Yes. And after Bruce drove through, we went down to VP, me, Dwayne Frazier, and Matt Glover, to get something to drink. And then we came out of VP after sitting for 15 minutes. We seen John Yates at the stoplight, right in front of the Diana Theater, going east towards Elwood on 28. And I seen Liz Balser in the front seat and Tabitha Raines in the back seat. And I asked them what they were doing, and they said they were out drinking and driving and getting effed up, dicking around.
Now, who made that comment that they were out?
Yates. Yates said that comment, and Tabitha looked happy. I mean, she looked like she was having fun or whatever. I mean, she wasn't in no harm at the time. And it was like from like 10 to 11, in between there, 10:30. It was probably closer to 10:30.
Did you notice what Jonathan Yates was wearing? Anything about his clothing?
I didn't even pay attention. It might have been a black shirt, but he was in the truck, and I really didn't
pay attention.
Have any idea about this.
What about Tabitha? Did you notice what she might have been wearing?
Yes, I'd seen her walking that night earlier at the courthouse, and she had on black tight black pants and a zip-up, or it was either a zip-up gray hoodie or it was a rhino rhino gray hoodie that's not zip up. It was one of the two. I know she had a hooded jacket on that was gray.
And when you said you saw her earlier, was that during daylight hours?
It was, yeah, it was about 7, 6:30, or it was probably 7 or 7:15. Or it was like right at dawn.
And she was by herself at that time, is that correct?
Yes.
She was walking.
That was in the evening, not at dawn, too.
You missed a part.
Oh, wait. Oh, she was walking by herself through the grass. She didn't have her kid. She'd already dropped her kid off.
Okay.
That was in the evening, not at dawn, too.
When they were at the stoplight, which individual told you that they were out doing, and what was your words?
They were out drinking and effing around. John Yates is the one that said that.
And did Tabitha speak to you or say anything?
She just looked at me through the window and kind of waved as they were leaving.
Did Liz Balser say anything to you?
She said, "What's up, turd?"
Okay, how long have you known Jonathan Yates?
I've known John Yates.
Prior to that night, did Jonathan Yates approach you approximately 2 weeks prior to that night that we are talking about now?
Yeah, it was 2 or 3 weeks before that. He asked me if I knew where to get a stolen or a legal gun, shotgun, or anything, so he could shoot somebody that came in if they came in and tried to rob his house. And I told him I didn't F around with that, but I heard something, I'd let him know, or whatever. And I didn't talk to him again until, or I think I talked to him one more time after that and went over to his house one more time. And he didn't say anything about a gun at that time. And then the next time I seen him was the night at 10:30 when he had Tabitha and Liz in his truck, in his red Chevy extended cab truck in front of the Diana.
We also talked about another individual by the name of Kyle Neff. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Do you know Kyle Neff?
Yes, I know Kyle.
And how long have you known Kyle Neff?
I've known Kyle since I was probably 7 or 8 years old.
And do you know his fiance's name?
Amanda, I believe.
Do you know the last name?
It used to be Pratt.
Okay.
I've known her for a long time too.
Wednesday night, October the 3rd, 2002, we had discussion about whether or not you saw Kyle Neff in the city of Tipton on that particular day. Is that correct?
Yes, he might have been on town on his motorcycle. I cannot confirm that for sure, but...
Is there a time in the last few days, though, from say October the 3rd through today's date, October the 8th, that you ever observed Kyle Neff on a motorcycle?
Not since, I mean...
You don't know for sure?
No, I don't.
I don't want you to say something that you're not positive on. You don't know that you've seen him on his bike?
In the past 2 weeks, yes, I've seen him on his bike. And when I did see Tabitha on the back of his bike one time, and she had a hooded sweatshirt on, and it hasn't been cold very long, you know what I mean?
Okay.
So she wouldn't have had, if it was a month ago, she wouldn't have had a hooded sweatshirt on.
Okay.
So it very well could have been that night that I seen her on the back of the bike.
But that's not something that you're positive of.
No, I'm not positive, but I mean, I'm not far off if I'm not positive.
Do you have anything else that you wish to put on tape, Derek, in regards to the disappearance and the death of Tabitha Raines?
Just who I want to say that John Yates is one of my best friends, and was going through school, and I didn't see him, how he could have done that, or I wouldn't have been friends with him. But I wouldn't be up here if I didn't think it was him. So,
Okay.
other than that, no, I didn't. Inaudible.
Once this statement's transcribed, are you willing to read over it and, if it's true and accurate statement as to the facts given to me tonight, sign it for me?
Yes, I'll sign it. This guy is okay. One of the things that I noticed about this is he's so wish-washy. Do you know what I mean? They ask him a question, and he's like, "Oh, it could have been this. I guess it could have been that, or maybe this, or maybe that." Times even he would give them 3 or 4 times.
Yeah, but at 20 years old, when are you going to remember dates?
True.
Do you remember dates when you were 20?
No.
And you have to remember they were doing drugs.
Right. So the important thing out of this statement.
And you're sitting at a police station. You're going to tell me you ain't nervous?
You're nervous, yeah. So the most important things out of this statement is that at the time that Andrew Bush is stating they're in the park, him and Tabitha in the pavilion, and Kyle and Liz show up, this guy is stating that he saw Tabitha in the car with Jonathan Yates and Elizabeth Balser. And we all know you can't be in 2 places at one time.
True that.
Okay. Second thing.
He saw Tabitha on the back of Kyle's bike.
Yes. Now, he can't pinpoint that it was that night.
But she was wearing a sweatshirt.
She was wearing a sweatshirt. So it had been recently. And one of the things that you and I have always discussed is, where was Tabitha between 6:30 and 9:30, 10 o'clock when she supposedly went to the park?
Right.
You can't.
And nobody's seen her.
Yeah, nobody's seen her, and you can't tell me that she went and sat at the VP all night.
No, because people would have seen her. Derek would have seen her.
Right.
He said he saw her walking through the courthouse lawn.
Right. So where was she all that time?
He said he saw her walking through the courthouse lawn between 6:30 and 7:15.
Mm-hmm. But then where was she from 7:15 to
9:30?
9:30, 10 o'clock.
Mm-hmm. When she was supposedly in the park.
Getting shot.
Yeah.
Right. All right, let's check out the comments here. Mark says, I put Derek Boyd to work in my company. He worked for 2 days out of town and wired out and had someone come to Southern Indiana and get him. I never talked to him again. Let's see here. And Mark also says he believes he was working both sides, as he was a close friend, as if he was a close friend to Tabitha, an informant for the bad side. Or mainly for Jonathan Yates, I would think, if they were that close.
I was going to say, he never really said he was a close friend to Tabitha. He never even talked to Tabitha that night. He even said that in his statement. He didn't talk to her. She just waved at him.
Right. Yes, definitely
So
just for Tabitha.
I would think that if he was a close friend to Tabitha, he would have spoke to her as well as John.
You would have thought so.
Yeah.
Tabby's son is doing good. I reached out to him yesterday just because I haven't talked to him in a while. But as far as I know, he's doing good. I'm actually going to see if he will come on and talk to me. So we'll see. That's up to him. All right. So we actually got through 3 deposition statements.
Yeehaw.
So that's good. And then we're going to do this again tomorrow night at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. And we're going to try to get through another 3 deposition statements from other individuals.
We're trying to do the shorter ones first.
Yeah, some of them are very lengthy, so we're trying to keep these lives within an hour. So we're trying to mix and match to get about an hour's length out of them. And we did pretty good tonight.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it takes us about an hour to read, or roughly around 40 pages.
Right.
Which is what we talked about before we went live.
Yeah. It wasn't the night she disappeared. I came home from work the night of last week of September, not positive of the date. I seen Tabby in Yates' truck as I drove through town, and we waved and smiled together. So it sounds like Tabby liked to go riding with John Yates too. But we know she liked to go riding on the motorcycle with Kyle Neff.
Mark says he believes he was lying through his teeth, saying it was the night she disappeared that he saw her in the truck. That's what that statement's about.
Yeah. Yeah, but if he truly did see her that night, that blows the prosecution's timeline and the official story all to hell.
Well, but he also said he not only saw her in the truck, he also saw her walking through the courthouse lawn.
Mm-hmm.
And it would have been after she
Left
home. Right, when Roberta said she left at 6:30.
Right. So if that is correct, she left Roberta's, went to the court by the courthouse. From there, she's not seen by
nobody has any kind of statement about where she was from that time, from that point to the alleged time she was in the park.
Right. And that's how I said, where was she all that time? You and I have our theory on that, but
of course we do.
Because nobody visually puts her in any area between the time that, except for him, he says he saw her about 7:15. Nobody sees her between 7:15 and up until the time she meets Andrew Bush in the park, supposedly. And that's hours.
Yeah.
We're not talking,
not 30 minutes.
30 minutes an hour. We're talking a 2.5 hours.
2.5 hours, right.
Gap. John Yates is one of Michael Raines, Gene Long, and Paul Vasquez, Kyle Neff's friends. Yeah, they all got together, or they were all friends. So, Mark, I don't know if you heard this because you came in late, but we did get some more documents, and we are in the process. We got documents through Hamilton County, and we are in the process of getting documents from Tipton. Cross your fingers. It'll go through, and we'll actually get them this time. So you think Jonathan was set up?
Who are you asking that?
Mark says he was part of the close friendship with them all. I believe he was set up. As one of the three that was being accused. I pressed the hashtag. I miss Tipton so much. Best folk in the world. Nope, not best
I'd like to know who Gibbo is.
I know. Gibbo's been great in the chats lately.
I might know who this person is.
Mark says, awesome. Yes, I agree with you. And I do have somebody working with me, but I am not telling you who that individual is. They want to stay out of it. But we did get at least 2 more verifications from police officers stating that Tabby's case is closed.
Mm-hmm. Tipton, UK, not Indiana.
Oh, okay.
Then I don't know him. I don't know who you are, Gibbo.
All right. So what I'm going to try to do, as long as Andrea's schedule we can do this. I'm going to try to do Tuesdays and Thursdays of each week as Tabitha, so that we can get through these depositions that we have and statements. Because then Andrea and I have to look at all the new stuff that we get and go from there. So,
That's going to be a lot of reading.
This is big because Jay Rich, the prosecutor, keeps telling us that we can't have documents because the case is open. And he's wrong.
Still under investigation is what he says.
He's full of shit.
He's full of it because there ain't nobody investigating it but us.
Yeah. And, I kind of wish that Jonathan Yates would have had his day in court, because it sounds like his lawyer was ready to give Jay Rich a what for.
Mm-hmm.
And poke holes all over this. Okay. So, yes, we will be. So, Andrea, you just have to let me know. I'd like to do Tuesday and Thursdays with Tabitha. Just let me know if any of those days in the upcoming weeks don't fit your schedule and we can change it.
I know we have appointments on the 7th, the 13th, and the 19th.
What days are those?
I don't know. All my days are together anymore.
Where's my calendar? There it is. So June 7th is a Friday.
Okay.
You said the 13th?
That's a Thursday.
That's a Thursday.
But that's a Kokomo appointment. So we should be home fairly quick after that one.
Okay. And what was the other one?
The 19th.
The 19th is a Wednesday, so we should be good for the next few weeks.
The 19th, we're in Indy, and that's for 2 appointments.
Okay. So I am going to create thumbnails and the live streams for the next 3 weeks for Tuesday and Thursday, except for this week we did it Wednesday and Thursday because it fit our schedules better.
Well, you had a members live that you had scheduled already that you didn't see comments on. By the way, Mark, I told her we were there.
I had all kinds of issues. It's a good thing you two were the only ones in there because, good Lord, that was a mess. I thought I was pretty much talking to myself that nobody was in there because I saw no comments.
No, me and Mark were talking and having a conversation between ourselves.
So, all
Okay.
right. Huh?
I said, okay.
Any last thoughts on what we read tonight?
Nope.
Okay. We will be back tomorrow night, same time.
Same Bat channel.
Yep, to read at least 3 more depositions. And tomorrow night, I will be showing you, we have the angel pin. I have the angel pins, I believe. I have not opened the box yet. But the angel pins are here, and we are going to start selling them. So that information will be tomorrow night. All right, everybody. On that note, we will be back tomorrow. And remember, doesn't matter how many years it's been, we want justice for Tabitha because justice matters.
Bye.
Have a good night, everyone.